Hello, good to be back with you. As I said last week, I've had a few days break this week and I feel much more refreshed and awake, and my brain is hopefully back on track today. So I did want to reflect on rest and particularly Sabbath rest, which is what I was going to talk about last week, because there's a difference about Sabbath. When we set aside a day, for Christians it's normally a Sunday, but depending on your work it may be that you have to have a different day in the week which you set aside for God. But when we set aside that time, it's not just about stopping things and not doing anything. It's about really having a good rest, about having some special time with God and for God, and also time to allow God to work in our lives, allow us time to listen to what God might be wanting to say to us. Because rest and Sabbath is all part of God's creation. When he rested on the seventh day of creation, it wasn't, as I said, it wasn't just about downing tools and not doing anything. It was about enjoying creation, about being with creation. And that's what God wants us to do. When we set aside time to rest in his presence, we can be refreshed, we can be renewed. Recreation is about recreation. It's about allowing time to actually see what God wants to do in our lives. Where are the places that he wants to refresh us? What are the things that he wants to renew? And what does he want to recreate in us? Because we're always changing throughout our life. We talk of life being a journey, and it is every step of the way God is guiding us into the people who he knows we can be because he's created us. And part of that rest is to, in a way, give ourselves a rhythm in our life. As I said, part of last week was to sort of lay some things down so that I could get back into a rhythm. And one of the real blessings of the last few months has been being able to have the opportunity to share morning and evening prayer and on a Saturday night compline with other people. It was something that was a big part of my life in my curacy, was saying morning prayer every day together with a small group of people. And that was lovely to be able to come together and just quietly pray with one another. And I must admit I had missed that. And obviously being in a team, it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to move around the churches. People have got much further to travel than they did in Bearsted. So it hasn't really worked out. But we've had morning and evening prayer and compline on Zoom. And we've been able to come together. And there's a group, sometimes there's one or two of us. Sometimes last night we had 8 of us at compline. And that's been a real blessing. And we noticed last night at compline, someone said, it's really amazing at compline, everyone smiles and everyone was happy at that night. And I did kind of jokingly sort of say, well, it's the end of the day, we're about to go to bed. But there is a little bit of that as well, that there is a real sense of relief when it comes to the end of the day and you can switch the computer off, you can close the door to the study and you can rest and go to sleep. I know some people struggle with being able to switch off at night, but the idea hopefully is that we can go to bed and be renewed and refreshed. And I just thought that was really noticeable, that actually it shows how important rest is, to be able to just hand things over to God. Quite a lot of people at the end of the day will reflect back on the day in what Ignatius calls the examine, and it's looking back at where God has been at work in the day. So the blessings that he has poured upon you, the times when he has been alongside you in the struggles, and that's a really important thing to do. And there's a phrase in the compline service which I've always really connected with. And it's, save us, O God, while waking, and guard us while sleeping, that awake we may watch with Christ, and asleep we may rest in your peace. And I love those words because it shows us that we need to be active, we need to live our lives, do our work during the day, but we always do that with Christ. Christ is alongside us, helping us to watch out for the signs of God's kingdom. He's helping to direct us along God's path. But when it comes to the night and that time to rest, he will give us that peace which can only come from God, and give us that time to be renewed and refreshed and recreated. So I pray that this week, whatever you're doing, you will have an opportunity to rest, to allow God to enter into your lives, in your hearts, in your souls, and give you refreshment, give you renewal, and recreate you into the beloved child that you are. Our children have just started school holidays, so if you've got families or not, I pray that you also can find some time to have fun, to find that rest and refreshment. So may you have a blessed week, and I'll see you all soon. God bless.